Look at your surname. Do not treat it as a simple bureaucratic inheritance. It is a physical testament of survival to the most lethal and brutal bloodbath in British history. In the 15th century, England tore itself in half. The Wars of the Roses pitted the House of York, the White Rose against the House of Lancaster, the Red Rose, in a war of total annihilation. The winner took the crown, the loser faced public execution, the confiscation of all lands, and the absolute erasure of their lineage. It was the ruthless civil war that inspired Game of Thrones. Barbarity was the law, but if your surname is on this list, your blood went through this furnace of horrors and refused to burn. Watch this video until number 1, because the last surname on this list reveals a direct connection to the warriors who formed the front line at the Battle of Towton, the bloodiest and most lethal battle ever fought on English soil, and the same ferocity that kept them alive on that frozen field still boils silently inside of you. Number 8. Fletcher, the relentless war machine of England. The Wars of the Roses were not decided solely by the steel of swords, but by the lethal fury of the English longbow. The Fletcher surname carries the blood of the master Fletchers, the men responsible for arming the apocalypse that rained down upon enemy armies. In battles where the air darkened with thousands of arrows falling simultaneously, forcing the enemy infantry to retreat depended entirely on the obsessive, heavy, and surgical work of your ancestor. Your name is not just an ancient profession. It is the symbol of the ballistics and lethality that sustained warring dynasties. They forged the claws that tore apart invading armies and kept military honor intact. Number 7. Talbot. Loyalty taken to the ultimate and bloodiest consequences. The warriors of the Talbot lineage were the dogs of war of the House of Lancaster. When the Red Rose was cornered, with dead leaders and crushed hopes, the ancestors who carried your blood refused to switch sides and save their own skin. They chose honor over cowardice. They donned their heavy armor, wielded their banners amidst blinding blizzards, and marched directly to the front line of numerically superior enemies. Carrying the Talbot name today means that your genetics carry the essence of men who stared at certain death and did not take a single step back. Number 6. Clifford. Vengeance incarnate on the battlefield. The Clifford name is stained with the ferocity and absolute brutality of the Wars of the Roses. The Cliffords of the Red Rose were the merciless executioners, men who swore to annihilate the York lineage down to the last heir, after seeing their own fathers brutalized and killed in the early battles. Your ancestor led suicidal cavalry charges and infantry attacks so devastating that his name echoed like a thunderclap of terror among enemy troops. They did not fight for diplomacy. They fought for pure annihilation and a thirst for ancestral justice. If you are a Clifford, you descend from the storm, from relentless warriors who never forgot and never forgave an insult to their blood. Number 5. Harrington. The unwavering pillars of steel of the feudal North. In a civil war where brothers stabbed brothers in the back and dukes betrayed their kings on the eve of battle for sacks of gold, the Harringtons represented unbreakable military loyalty. They were the crushing force in the ranks of the House of York, and later found themselves surrounded on a political chessboard that tried to swallow them. Your blood remained loyal when betrayal was the easiest path to survival. They endured paralyzing sieges and fought in the bloody mire of English swamps because their word and their sword or worth more than life itself. The name you carry is proof of a character that entire empires could not corrupt. If your surname attests that your lineage survived annihilation and kept its legacy alive to this day, subscribe to this channel now. We unearth the forgotten glories that modernity tries to erase. Join us and reclaim the true history of your family. Number 4. Stanley, the supreme masters of strategy and destiny. Your ancestor was not just a soldier on the chessboard, he was the hand that moved the kings. The Stanley lineage became famous for deciding, literally, who would lose and who would win the throne of England. At the legendary Battle of Bosworth Field, it was your family's armies that positioned themselves on the hills, watched the bloodshed, and, in the final moment, delivered the decisive cavalry charge that destroyed King Richard III and ended the Wars of the Roses. The name Stanley means you carry a DNA that is not made for blind obedience. It is the blood of brilliant strategists who knew how to calculate absolute danger, strike with lethal precision, and forge the destiny of entire nations. Number 3. Howard, the impenetrable vanguard and absolute duty. The House of Howard rose in the flames of war, fighting side by side with monarchs until the final ashes. They led the vanguard of the royal armies, being the first human wall of armor to clash against the advance of enemy troops. Being the vanguard meant facing the worst of the carnage. Your ancestor was on the front line, where swords broke bones and shields cracked. They took the heaviest blows so that their faction could advance. The Howard blood is the ultimate symbol of resilience, proving that your family built its own power by enduring the pain that would destroy any ordinary lineage and emerging from the trenches with glory. Number 2. Mortimer, the unquestionable right to wear the crown. The Mortimers were not just fighters. They carried the blood heritage that justified the entire war. The House of York's claim to the English throne only existed because it flowed from the royal and ancestral blood of the Mortimers. Your lineage was the seed of the White Rose Rebellion, the legitimate heirs that the Lancaster dynasty tried to banish, silence, and butcher for decades. Carrying this name means understanding that your ancestors lived with a target on their foreheads. Each generation had to fight with sword in hand to avoid being wiped from the face of the earth. And in the end, your lineage prevailed against grotesque betrayals, proving that the royalty and the fury of the White Rose are immortal within your genetics. Number 1. Tempest, the storm incarnate, the terror of the northern forces, and the lords of the Battle of Towton. We have reached the apex of English military barbarity. On Palm Sunday of 1461, 30,000 men died mutilated and frozen in the snow during the worst storm of the year, in a 10-hour battle that destroyed generations of nobility. Your ancestor belonged to this brutal caste. The Tempest lineage was composed of knights whose ferocity in combat perfectly matched their name. In that white hell of Towton, when entire phalanxes collapsed because of the cold and exhaustion, the men of your blood advanced into the most animalistic hand-to-hand combat of medieval warfare, marching over piles of corpses to defend their banner. Death surrounded them at Towton, tried to drag them beneath the snow and extinguish their name, but your ancestor rose up and cut his way into the future. Dozens of entire dynasties, enormously wealthy families, and ancestral clans were reduced to ashes and erased from existence by English swords, but your family stood tall. You are the biological evidence that the warrior DNA of your lineage could not be broken by decree nor by carnage. Assume the crown of courage and the steel of your ancestry. Go down to the comments now. Write your surname with all the fury of the past. Use the comments to show the world that the white rose or the red rose may have fallen into the dust of time, but almost 600 years after the first sword strike, your bloody, warrior, and undefeated lineage remains alive, walking, and dominating this century.